Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are perhaps in the last episode of this series. Well, of this sub-series, I should say. The Hearts of Iron section of this series. Of course, the Bizarro Ottomans will be taking to space in Stellaris after this, but you'll know if this is a final episode or not because it'll say conclusion in the title, or maybe conclusion-ish, because this is a mega campaign. But yeah, you'll know if that's the case. I don't. You're a time traveler. Time travelers are weird. I don't know what to say about that. But we're pushing into Ming here, and if Ming capitulates, that's it. That's the end. There's a little bit over here, and we're not really attempting to push in here. Let's just go ahead and try. Okay, noted. So I believe that we are constructing some supplies over this way. Yeah, that appears to be the case. We're working on that, and we're working on our supply situation up here as well. You can see that we're having a bit of a tough time pushing in, and the reason for that is entirely due to this supply situation. We're working on it. We can also move in some extra railways. Like here would be a decent one. I'm not going to go too ham on these, but we can move in a few extra railways over this way. And then, like, one down over here. Kind of like... can we go? Maybe? There we go. One like that, and then one down over here, too. Cool. So something along the lines of that. I don't want to get too much queued up. I want to make sure there was nothing accidentally on the bottom. Cool. Hello, pause menu. And that looks good. Okay. So we're working on pushing our way in. The question is, are we starting to take more losses than the Chinese now? And the answer to that is, I think at this point, yes. But they've already suffered extreme losses. They are currently at 56% or 54% rather towards capitulation. So we're working on pushing our way in. And we're also working on being able to supply this area. Once this all finishes up, we should push in no problem. Supplies are our entire issue. We have a logistics issue pushing through Ming because they didn't bother to build any logistics. And this is all taken care of up here. Now, these guys may not be assigned to anything. Correct. Would it be overkill to also assign this army group here? Probably. And they didn't get assigned over here. So they would be offensive lining. Their goal would be to offensive line like straight to Taiping. Like that. And they can go ahead and execute that. I'm sure it'll be fine. So we're going to get more troops in over there, and that's definitely not going to make our logistics problem worse. We have air wings with no region assigned. What? I don't think we have any air wings. Speaking of which... do they have any air wings? No. They're not bothering with air, so we're not going to either, probably. That said, we could work on, like, some strategic bombing or something. Yeah, we probably should, actually. So we would go for, like, our jet strategic bombers here. And we would put in about 1,000 of those. Something like that. And what is their mission? Well, their mission is simply to strategic bomb over, like, everything here. Can we assign them to multiple locations? No, so we're going to have to do this, like, some at a time here. So 3 would come down here, and then these 3 would go over here, and then these 3 would come up here, in theory. Or I guess those 2 would come up here. Okay, and that should do the trick. We can also send out some fighters if we wanted to. We could also nuke them if we wanted to. We have 716. But we'd like to avoid nukes in this playthrough, I think. They make things probably too easy for our situation here. So that'll be fine. And checking in here, our railways are going to be done in 87 days, apparently. Cool. And a lot of these supply depots will be finishing up fairly soon as well. So we should see these front lines become less static soon enough. This is a giant mess up here, and I love it. Okay, that's fine. So we're deploying on in, and I'm wondering if these guys have managed to make it to the front. In some cases. In some cases. So that's fine. Anything more that we can get in terms of resources? Yes, actually. Cool. We'll get that underway, and that'll be great. So we're continuing to push into Ming here, and honestly, we're making decent progress. But it'll be a little bit before we really start pushing in. Cool. Once these supply hubs start to finish up, that's when it'll really start to shift. So that's fine. We can see here that our ticking speed is not the fastest, but it's not super slow either. So it should be okay. We're definitely going to start pushing in here, and... oh, hello. This finished up, and so these guys are just gone. Beautiful. So this force should get reassigned back to whatever army group that they were in. They're in Army Group North, which is kind of the same thing at this point. Okay, we'll just assign them over here. Beautiful. Yeah, that's looking good. So, let's take a look at our supply situation here. It's still grim in this area, but we're working on it. Did I accidentally queue any of these railroads at the bottom? No, I didn't. Okay, just wanted to double check that one. And we're also building all of these naval bases. That's a low priority, but they're going to be done fairly soon. Yeah, that looks fine. These supply hubs are going to be done extraordinarily soon. And that is what we're really after here. Once we get that and Taiping falls, I think it's over. I think they capitulate when Taiping falls. They're now 55% towards capitulation. Beautiful. And they can't hold us off at this point. Let's see if they've gotten an air force. Actually, yes, they have some fighters. So let's think about sending out some fighters of our own. So we're going to go for, I believe we only got carrier fighters. Yeah, that's correct. So we're going to send some carrier fighters out here, and we can send 800 here. There we go. And this is their range. So we're going to send 400 of these to air superiority out over here. Then we're going to send the other 400 to air superiority in eastern China. And then we're going to come down here, and we're going to get another... let's see, we can get 1,000 here. So like that. Then we're going to take 5 of those units. I selected way too many. 5 of those units, and they're going to be air superioritying here. And then the other 5 are going to be air superioritying here. Perfect. So we'll get that underway. Excellent. So when our fighters arrive here, that should give us much... oh, wow. Look at this air superiority. What kind of fighters do they have out here? Well, they have none here. 500 fighters. We don't know what they have, I don't think. Okay. Well, we've got the radar advantage. We've got the air detection advantage. They just can't compete with us in the air. Their planes took to the sky, and turns out that was a mistake. Cool. This over here looks distinctly like a pocket. Let's just clean that up. Thank you very much. Go on and get in there. Cool. So once we get that cleaned up, these guys will get reallocated, of course. We've got some giant messes going on here. But this is another pocket over here. I love it. That is already taken care of. That's all under our control now. Beautiful. We're probably going to stall out from supplies fairly soon again, is my guess. But what we should definitely do is hop into our supply mode here and motorize all of these that are near the front. So these ones that we built up over here, like this guy, gets motorized. This guy, motorized. This guy, motorized. Every single one of these gets motorized. That is what we're going to do here to try to... this guy, I think, is not fully built. Yeah, these are still getting built. But there we go. We'll call that good for now, and we'll come back to that once some of these finish their construction. That's fine. Okay. I think it's very clear that Ming is going to capitulate soon here. This may end up being a short episode. We'll see. And we'll also double check that there aren't any extraneous other factions anywhere. I really don't think there are. Just double checking out over this way. There's all of our aligned nations, right? Like Armenia and Australia here. I suppose technically we could argue that Armenia and Australia is in the same boat that North and South America were. We could argue that. What do they have for a military? Let's start justifying on them. That'll only take 10 days. So, let's get our Marines here. That's not our Marines. Let's get our Marines set up over here. We're going to frontline here, and their goal is going to be to take all of this, right? So they will offensive line something kind of like, well, not exactly this, but something kind of like that. Cool. And they can start working on that. There's Armenia and Australia all out over here. Is there anything other than Armenia and Australia, though? There's, like, these guys up here, Armenian Philippines, who should be... Yeah, they are a colony of ours. Okay. We could look at maybe, like, the score. The score is going to be weird because we're long past the quote-unquote stop point. Where do we actually see the score? Achievements aren't available, yeah. But world tension history, current wars, dismissed alerts, help. I don't actually know where we see that, but I'd like to see a list of nations. Maybe we could see that in a diplomatic view, actually. Diplomacy. Cool. Yeah, we can see that here. So, correct. Everyone else who remains after Armenia and Australia will be one of our vassal states. Cool. So we'll proceed forward and deal with Ming. And then we're going to look to take care of Armenia and Australia. And they have a number of islands out over here. That's Armenian Pacific, who is ours. We'll probably just call in our allies against Armenia and Australia and get that dealt with. Taiping fell, by the way. Ming is almost about to capitulate. So this is looking over. This is looking mega over. There we go. Ming capitulates. So, we're going to select all here. We're going to... We would like to select all there. But we actually may not have enough here. We'll submit these demands. And no, we'll have enough. So, all we'll do here is we'll pass. Select all. Submit demands. Beautiful. So, we're annexing everything. Confirm and exit. So, Ming is under our control now. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and look at potentially building a few supply depots in here. We're not going to wait on these supply depots, for the record, but building a few supply depots in here, something like, I didn't want that there, I wanted that here. And then one here, that looks reasonable-ish to me. Yeah, that should be fine. We'll make sure that our naval bases that we just got are maxed out. Cool. There we go. That didn't go all the way up. Perfect. There we go. We'll grab that, and that looks good. Now we'll make sure that all of this is hooked up via rail. Something along the lines of this. This doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to be good enough. Okay. That wasn't exactly where I wanted that to connect to, but sure. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going pretty quickly here and making sure that this is decent in terms of coverage. So something kind of like that, and then up over here. And Armenia and Australia will be the next target. The question is, how are we going to go about invading them? It'll take a little time to get that ready. So just bring this up over here, I guess, and connect that in over here. Sure, whatever. There's a railway here already. I don't really care. Connecting these guys in. Perfect. Something like that. Cool. That can connect there. And then this connects up here. There we go. And all of this construction should be done relatively quickly. Okay. Oh, go on. There you go. We'll call that good. Beautiful. So that's underway. We should also work on our infrastructure out over here in all of these locations that we took. So there we go. This all becomes ours. Beautiful. So we'll get all of that construction queued up. The question now becomes, are we going to be able to take over Australia yet this episode? Well, we could make this be a slightly long episode. I think that's probably fine. We'll queue up our anti-air as well in all of these fancy new locations that we got. There's already some Chinese anti-air here. So that's looking fine. We'll get all of that done. And these constructions will happen very quickly, for the record. Very, very quickly. We'll get our radar stations done. It's a little bit harder to see with our radar. To be clear, the radar doesn't really have... Like, none of this really has to be done. Our radar isn't queued up everywhere. You know what? We'll call that good enough. We'll call that good enough. So, that'll take a little while. No doubt about that. Yeah, that'll definitely take a little while. But it should be fine. Let's go ahead and move all of this stuff up, because it's a much higher priority. And we'll move the infrastructure up as well. We'll make the infrastructure be the highest priority for right now, and then we'll get our supplies done, and then after that, everything else is fine. I'm not too concerned about getting all of that done. Okay, that looks good. I think I moved up another one accidentally, but that's completely okay. So, we're going to need to get some things done a little bit differently here. Invading Australia needs to be the primary focus. So, we're going to have these guys actually come out over here. There we go. And their goal is going to be to offensive line like this. And just get this broadly taken over. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then we're going to have the Marines forget about what they were doing here. So, what are they going to do instead? They are going to plan a naval invasion from here to here. Boom. Just like that. We're going to move our Navy. And they are going to forget about being over here. They're instead going to head down to the Timor Sea and the Far Eastern Indian Ocean. We'll remove all of that. And then there's these guys over here. They will forget about being up here. They will instead go to the Coral Sea and the Tasman Sea. I'm not too concerned about anything beyond that for the moment. That said, we're going to need this sea as well. Something like that. It's a little awkward, but sure. There we go. So we'll get that moving, and then this force is going to be relieved over here by these guys. So I'd like them to, like, pile in over here. And it's going to be a lot of attrition there, most likely. It's a level 4 naval base, so we'll want to work on that. And we're going to be ready to go on this very soon, for the record. Our justification has just finished. We're not in position yet, of course. We're working on it. So these guys are making their way over. And once they arrive here, then we'll be ready to go. Okay. We're almost here. Definitely working on it. There, now we're arriving here. But apparently these guys are taking their sweet time. I'm not sure what they're up to. Sure, interesting path that they're taking. We're going to wait until our invasion is ready. Our war goal is available until 6th of June, so that looks fine. And we're just going to prepare here. We're going to declare in just 8 days. A lot of our troops are still moving, but that's okay. 29, 30, okay. About 3 more days here. 32 and 33. Cool. So that's ready to go. And I want to make sure that these guys are in the correct position. So we're just going to tell them, come on up here. You guys, forget about the Far Eastern Indian Ocean for right now. We need to get our beachhead on Australia. So we'll move up and then we'll attack. Well, this is awkward. We're already here? This is not where you're supposed to be naval invading from. Well, we'll see what ends up happening when we declare this. These guys might become like black flagged or something. We have divisions in their territory. Yeah, they're not supposed to be there. Get out of there, nerds. Okay. So they're heading out. Now we're going to declare this. Cool. These guys can go ahead and execute. And these guys, as soon as they're ready, can execute, which they should be ready literally right now. There we go. Okay, so they establish a beachhead here. Then we want this army group to come in here. They can frontline there. And their mission is going to be to offensive line basically straight down to the southern border of Australia. We're not expecting any major serious resistance here, but just something kind of like that. Sure, that'll do. They can go ahead and execute that when they arrive. For the time being, these guys are going to be tied down defending this border. Okay, we're going to be pushing out over here eventually, in theory. Apparently, we've got major supply issues over here. I'm not shocked about that, I suppose. Yeah, this naval base can only have so much, but I want these guys to head out anyway, right? Like, come on out here, and the rest of you guys come on out like here. You'll be fine. Cool. What? Are there 2 Armenian Australias? There's 2 Armenian Australias. That makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Cool. So we just need to attack New Zealand then. Okay. So we should have this army then. Like, these guys don't need to do anything. You guys can forget about this order. Like, forget about it. Cool. We can then come out over this way and prepare a naval invasion of New Zealand. Like that. And they can all be assigned to that, and they can go as soon as they're ready. We're now going to need to bring our navies down over... this is 3 locations. Okay. So these guys are going to need to come like that-ish. Okay, there we go. We'll see what ends up happening with that. That's really awkward, but it should be okay. So we're heading out of there, and... Are these guys all assigned to this? I don't know that they are. No, they are. They're assigned. So we should definitely begin work on this naval base. We'll bump that up. And this front line... Oh, this is impassable here. Okay. I see why this front line is doing the thing it's doing. So we'll have this unit be assigned to be here. Like that. And then this unit will be assigned to be here. Like that. It's very awkward. But it should be okay. And for the time being, we're going to move these guys, like, up here. Until our troops start to arrive a little bit more thoroughly. The last thing we want is for this guy to walk in and take this naval base from us. But we do definitely want to get that upgraded. So that's top priority. And that is happening. Perfect. And he took the naval base from us. Well, this is what happens when our troops are just refusing to come in when they're supposed to. Okay. So we may end up losing these guys. That's not the biggest of deals. Okay. For the time being, we're going to select this army, and we're going to tell them your only goal right now is to come defend over here. That is your only goal. Get back here. Realistically, we would like to see you attack here and take back this location. We need to get that back. How are we doing on this invasion plan? Okay, we're working on it. How long until these tanks arrive? Approximately 10 trillion years. Good to know. And these guys are just chilling right now. They can't attack both of these locations, is the thing. Yeah, we can get pushed back over here. I don't care about that. Literally the only thing I care about is that we get some supplies over here. So this is going to be done on 3 July. Okay. This is very awkward here. No doubt about that. 26 June, 27 June, 28 June, 29 June. We're 84% complete with our first level naval base here. It's going to be very awkward, but we need it. 1 July, 2 July, 3 July. Okay, there we go. Now we can bring these forces back in. And that's exactly what we're working on. So these guys are going to launch when they can. Some divisions... Okay, they're heading in. Beautiful. I don't think we'll need anything other than our Marines to take New Zealand. Cool. These guys are going to head up over here, and then we're going to assign all of these guys to an offensive line that will simply be down here. Go ahead and take that. I don't think there's actually any forces here. Or if there are, they're very minimal. So that'll be fine. We'll assign these guys here, and how are things looking down this way? Our troops have arrived. Beautiful. Of course, our supplies are going to be very limited here for the time being. But our troops are arriving, and for the time being, I also want to remove one of these divisions here. There we go. And let's just assign all of these here. And then this was Army 4. And then Army 5, I'm guessing. Army 2? Okay, Army 2. Okay. There we go. That should do for now. And the question is, how long until Australia gives up? Hello, pause menu. Well, let's take a quick look here. They have 3 to 5 divisions. This is basically their whole army. Okay. So we're definitely making our way through New Zealand. And how are we doing on that capitulation? Okay, noted. I don't think Armenian Australia has anything outside of Australia and New Zealand. Everything else should be Armenian Pacific or Armenian Australia, which is different from Armenian Australia. Cool. So we're pushing our way in, and this shouldn't be bad at all. We appear to have forgotten about defending up here. Interesting. Yeah, we definitely forgot about that. So you guys can come on up here. There you go. And your goal is going to be to offensive line, like, over to here. Go ahead and execute that. Cool. Okay, we definitely want to build up our supplies here. So we'll get that underway. And we should build a supply hub, like, down here. And let's build a railroad connecting all of that up. So that'll come down over here. Maybe. I guess we have to start it over this way. Sure. And just something kind of like that. Beautiful. So we'll get that underway, and we'll just push our way in. We shouldn't really need supplies where we're going, in theory. So New Zealand is still busily falling. But Australia's a really big place. It'll take some time to get this done. Cool. So we currently see 3 Australian divisions. That is very likely the entire amount of Australian divisions. Beautiful. How are things looking in New Zealand? We've just about got them. New Zealand is about to fall here. It was entirely undefended, and we're running into no defenses in the south here and minimal defenses in the north. Perfect. So that's looking absolutely fine. Australia is now at, really, only 12% towards capitulation. I mean, realistically, they should look at this situation and be like, yeah, we don't have a chance against literally the entire rest of the world. But that's not what they're saying. They're saying, this looks good. This looks good. So we're going to continue to press in over this direction. These guys, we will certainly grab, say, this army here and give them an offensive line. Their offensive line is now going to be, like, all the way down to here. Cool. And we'll get that underway. Beautiful. So they're going to be pressing in here, and we should probably consider constructing an additional supply hub over this way. We'll get that going, and then we'll link that up by rail to... by rail? There we go. We'll link that up over here, and then over to here. Cool. So that's under construction now. Apparently some of these guys don't have orders. They should be assigned to this army group. There we go. 71 divisions. Did somebody lose an army or lose a unit? No. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but that's fine. So we're just going to continue to press in here. It's going to be slow going because they have basically no infrastructure, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. They had tons of time to work on their infrastructure. I don't know what their problem is. So New Zealand is under our control. And how are they doing? They're now 14% towards capitulation. Okay. Well, we're taking not particularly valuable portions of Australia, mostly. I mean, these ports up here are probably pretty valuable. But their capital's down here, and that's going to be a very big deal to take. So we'll get that underway, and we're just slowly pushing in here. How are we doing on casualties? They've had more losses than we have, which is a little wild to me, considering our supply situation. Well, we'll just continue to proceed here. And we're just pushing them on in. Very slowly, but we're pushing them in nevertheless. Beautiful. I wish that we were pushing faster, but given the amount of supply infrastructure that they have built, this isn't shocking. I suppose we could think about a naval invasion of Tasmania here. So coming on in over this direction here. Actually, I want it to be here, where the naval base is. Actually, let's invade all of this if we can. We can invade literally the whole thing. We may as well. So we'll get that going, and that should be the last naval invasion that we need. Although we could launch another one, like actually probably up over here, just because of the location of the sea zone. That should be fine. I want you to just kind of make your way on up here. Grab all of this. And make that good. Cool. So we're going to head on up there, grab a bunch of that territory. As far as heading to their capital goes, what's this fill-in look like? That's kind of close to what we want. Sure, it'll do. So we should continue to build additional supply infrastructure as we make our way up. And we'll definitely work on that. Cool. Something kind of like that should be just fine. It'll take time for that to get built, and that does, of course, slow down our push pretty dramatically. When are we going to launch our naval invasion? 8 days. Let's go. So we're pushing very, very close to their capital here. That's great. Really, really good there. And this should be absolutely the last nation. In fact, we know for a fact it is, because if we go to our diplomacy here, Armenian Australia exists and is still giving us military access for some reason. I mean, I guess we're getting better military access than we asked for. And the rest of these are all our vassals, so that will be absolutely great. So we're going to continue to push on in here. No problem whatsoever. How are things going on this side? Looking good. So we see some more Australian forces starting to show up. Cool. And our invasion of Tasmania has finished, it looks like. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to launch a naval invasion from here up to here. Cool. And they can launch that whenever they're done. Absolutely great. So we're going to make our way southward here. I would actually like to create a thrust towards their capital with this armor unit. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go take their capital, and at the same time, we're going to pocket all of these guys. Beautiful. And we've got additional forces moving in here, so that's not too concerning. Perfect. The AI is not being as aggressive as I would like, so we're just moving on up here. In the meantime, we've got this nonsense going on, which is completely fine. We should probably tell these lads that they are going to have an offensive line of being, like, here. There we go. Cool. So they can try to launch some form of an attack there, but their supplies are a little bit grim. We're working on it. It'll be fine. So we have this pocketed, and their capital did indeed fall. I want you guys to just push on in here. Beautiful. Cut them off, and we'll get this all dealt with. Their capital's about to fall right about now. There we go. And how are they doing now? They are 85% to capitulation. Wow. That was a lot. Okay, good to know. That is very good to know. So with their capital falling, they are incredibly close to capitulation. We're also going to wipe out these units here. Come on in. They're not going to bite. Like, literally, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to die. Just keep attacking them. Beautiful. Which way are they retreating? They're retreating down here. Okay. So we'll get into position for that. We'll take these guys up here. Perfect. And I would like to continue to attack, but of course we are having some supply issues down over here. Let's go ahead and build another supply hub here, and we'll connect that up. There we go. And as far as this up here goes, it's still under construction, so that's fine. And these guys have nowhere to go at all, so they just die. Eventually. Our supplies are grim, but they're out of here. So that's perfect. 87% to capitulation. And we just took this over here. Let's set an offensive line of being something kind of like this. Honestly, if we just take New South Wales, that should end this war. Perfect. That should be the end right there. I saw their capital move. 89% towards capitulation. Okay, so that wasn't as much as I'd hoped. Okay. So we'll tell these guys as soon as they finish moving in here that their current goal is to offensive line something more like this and take the next capital. Beautiful. So we're making our way up there. Our Marines are actually moving very quickly. Okay, cool. We probably just have too many troops in these locations, to be honest, but that's fine. Our Marines are doing just fine at the moment. And we're going to prepare for this attack up over here. We're already moving in over here. I want to grab one of these guys and move them on in over this way. And I wouldn't mind pushing them out of their capital here. So let's push them on out. 98%, 99%, and they're out of here. So that falls. They will now capitulate. Okay, perfect. Any moment now, Australia. Any moment now. Okay, this is hilarious. I don't know what's going on with that. Apparently, Australia is not interested in capitulation. I'm going to grab these guys and tell them, head on in, stack wipe those units. They have no supplies. Get them out of here. Oh, they still control 23% of victory points. Never mind on that. That said, come on down here and take over this port. That will likely, or actually, they're now here. But they have no troops in this area, so that should be absolutely fine. Get that dealt with. Beautiful. So we did, of course, expect that this was not going to be a particularly challenging run through Hearts of Iron, right? We were in a really strong position to begin with. But that's absolutely fine. We got the world conquered. It's only 1985, and we definitely didn't try to speedrun it or anything, but it's all good. Okay, so next they're up here. Okay, we'll head on up. We're closing in from multiple angles. They're 99% towards capitulation. Come on, Australia. You can do it. You can do it. Why don't you guys come on down here? There we go. So they capitulated, and now everything is under our control. Beautiful. On 1 May 1985. So we'll hop into our diplomacy screen here. And there we go. That's it. That is it. We're done with the Hearts of Iron portion. So now, of course, we move on to Stellaris, but that will be in the next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisol, Kadra, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.